Basically, we're on a path to bankruptcy. America's on a path to bankruptcy, so we have to cut government spending, or we're just going to go bankrupt, just like a person would. As we all know, recently Donald Trump won the US election, and one person that took center stage in it all was Elon Musk. Musk was actually one of the Trump campaign's largest individual donors, pledging over $100 million to support the campaign. But interestingly, his involvement with Trump's isn't stopping at just campaign support, as Elon is now expected to take an active role within the Trump administration. And in the case of Elon Musk, it appears to be true that he will take on a sizable role in the government as head of government efficiency. At the suggestion of Elon Musk, Trump announced, "I will create a government efficiency commission tasked with conducting a complete financial and performance audit of the entire federal government and making recommendations for drastic reforms." Elon, because he's not very busy, has agreed to head that task force. So what is Elon Musk's role going to be? Is it going to be a good thing, or is it just going to be a big conflict of interest? Musk, as was recently confirmed, is set to become the head of what he calls the Department of Government Efficiency, or you guessed it, DOGE for short. I think the funniest name is DOGE, the Department of Government Efficiency. From what he has said so far, it seems his primary goal is to simply cut out all the waste and inefficiency that's currently seen in the government. From my research, this all boils down to two key objectives. One, reducing the government deficit, and two, deregulation. Now I will talk about both, but I want to start with the idea of reducing the deficit. Much like a person, the government has income and expenses. If it wants to spend more than it earns, it has to take on debt to afford it. Similar to us, if we want to buy a new car but can't afford it, we have to take out a loan to buy the car. The problem with the US is that every year since 2000, the government has spent more than it earns. Each year, as you can see for fiscal year of 2024, the government collected $4.92 trillion in revenue and had $6.75 trillion in expenses. In the income column, we have 49% from individual income taxes, 35% from social security taxes, and 11% from corporate taxes, and smaller amounts from customs duties, excise taxes, estate and gift taxes, and other sources. Over in the spending column, we see that 22% goes to social security, 14% go to health, 13% on interest, 30% on Medicare, 13% on defense, 10% on income security, and lesser amounts for veterans benefits, education, transportation, regional development, and all other stuff. Now, this is the important part, because the United States government consistently spends more than it earns each and every year. That leaves a shortfall. That shortfall has to be made up by the government selling bonds. It's essentially like an IOU. Investors give money to the US government and the US pays them back after a certain period of time. The problem with this is these bonds require the government to pay interest. As the debt pile grows, so does the interest section on the expenses side of the equation, which only makes the deficit worse. On top of that, there is the compounding factor at the moment of higher interest rates, because the government runs a deficit when their debts come due. They actually can't pay them back. So what they do instead is take on new debt to help pay down the old one. The problem with this is if you took on $1 million of debt at 1% interest and now you have to refinance it, say 5% interest, the interest expense snowballs. For the same outstanding debt, your interest expense is now higher thanks to the higher interest rates. All of this is what Elon Musk has drawn attention to recently. This was him on Joe Rogan a few weeks back.
Department of Government Efficiency. Yeah, I mean, the idea is pretty simple, is that like we've got this suffocating massive federal bureaucracy, and we need to, and the government spending is like bankrupting the country. Our interest payments on the national debt now exceed the Defense Department budget, which is the Defense Department budget is like $1 trillion a year. 23% of all government income, including income taxes, tariffs, and everything, is just going to pay interest. right now. And that number is continually rising. So if we don't do something, the entire government budget will be paying interest. There won't be money for anything. No, there won't be money for Social Security. There won't be money for Medicare, nothing. That's where we're headed. That's what bankruptcy means.
Elon sees the deficit worsening over time. He sees the refinancing of government debt at high interest rates ballooning the interest expense of the country, and he wants to change that. In Elon's planned role as the head of government efficiency, he wants to tackle this issue by eliminating a lot of wasteful spending. There are expenditures that don't make a lot of sense, that are wasteful, and we need to put a stop to that. There is so much government waste going on that I would call it a target-rich environment. In every direction, there is just mad waste. I think if people simply know that wasting a ton of taxpayer money will get them fired, the situation will immediately improve. This is exactly what Elon Musk has experienced from running SpaceX, Tesla, and more recently, X. At Tesla, he focused heavily on streamlining operations, reducing costs across the supply chain, and enhancing the profitability of the company while improving affordability for customers. SpaceX is a testament to his commitment to optimization, where each advancement aims to either reduce rocket weight or maximize cost effectiveness. For instance, the whole reason the rocket got caught by the chopsticks in the first place was that they deleted the landing legs to save weight and optimization. And of course, we know, most dramatically, what he did at Twitter. Musk implemented substantial cost-cutting measures, notably reducing the workforce by 80% while maintaining the platform's core functionality. Some of those initiatives obviously weren't popular, but they were effective. That's what he is all about, creating lean and effective operations. It's that skill set that he now wants to bring to the US government through the Department of Government Efficiency. This department will take a close look at all federal expenditures and cancel anything that doesn't offer great value for taxpayer dollars. Musk himself has said, "I would like to say it's a hard job, but actually it's not because there is so much waste." However, he acknowledges that there will be opposition from entrenched interest benefits from inefficiencies, though he believes the American people will support these changes. One area Musk has discussed extensively is government agencies. This brings us to the second part of the role. So, improving the efficiency of the government by consolidating or removing agencies. This has two intended outcomes: reducing the government's running costs and untangling the web of bureaucracy that stifles progress.
But it's even worse than that. Like we're spending money on all these these government agencies, and I actually asked the AI like how many government agencies are there, and the government isn't even sure how many government agencies there are. Like so it's like somewhere around 450, depending on what you call an agency. So there are at the federal level. So that's almost twice as many agencies as years that America has existed. So we're creating agencies at roughly 2 agencies a year.
Wow.
Yes. So this is insane.
Musk believes this vast, suffocating federal bureaucracy grows bigger every year, eventually to the point where everything is illegal and you can't get anything done. This perspective on deregulation is where his views become more controversial. While many can appreciate addressing the deficit, deregulation tends to divide opinions. For context, Musk frequently uses the football field analogy. He explains that the game works best with 1 or 2 referees enforcing the rules, allowing players the freedom to play. But if you add too many referees, 20, 50, or more, the field becomes overcrowded and the game breaks down. He argues that this is what's happening with over-regulation in America. For example, SpaceX's Starships was once sitting on the pad, ready to launch, but they could build the rocket faster than the paperwork for launch approval could be processed.
So we're sitting there for 2 months. If you're dealing with one agency, that's one thing, but if you've got to deal with 5 agencies, and the agencies will have to meet with each other, now you've got 25 different, meeting configurations that have to take place. It's just everything. You get just hardening of the arteries. You just can't make progress.
Musk has pointed out that This is why America struggles to build high-speed rail. It's basically illegal, he said. However, Musk's call for deregulation is not without controversy. At the end of the day, regulations often exist for safety, environmental protection, and consumer rights. Scaling them back raises legitimate concerns, testing out a leaner government and then restoring any crucial regulations if needed. But some might argue that it could be risky if a regulatory body is removed only to realize later that it was actually essential. Then there could be a period where people are impacted before it's reinstated. In some cases, that temporary gap could have serious consequences for public safety, the environment, or other critical areas. So it's a fine line to walk in the regulation versus deregulation debate. Another concern raised is the potential for job losses. Consolidating or cutting back government agencies would inevitably lead to some layoffs, and that's a tough reality. Losing a job is hard for anyone, and it's understandable why people worry about this aspect. Now, Elon has addressed this concern directly, and in his view, he doesn't want to cause anyone undue economic hardship.
The point is not that people suffer economic hardship. The point is just that there are more productive things they can do in the economy, and it would be better if they did these other more productive things, and we didn't have this vast federal bureaucracy. So I was like, maybe like a couple of years of pay would be good, and then they could take a vacation, they could take another job and get double pay. I mean, it's not going to create an economic crisis. I think it's actually going to be really good. I think because people can move to where they're making products and services that are more useful to their fellow human beings.
So that's the argument around potential job losses. But beyond that, there is one really big issue that definitely does need to be addressed, and it's causing quite a bit of stir now. And that is, if Elon is in charge of this deregulation, is there a potential conflict of interest? Right, if Musk takes on this role in the Trump administration, then he would potentially have influence over regulations that directly affects his own companies like SpaceX or Tesla. Elon has previously voiced frustration with regulatory bodies such as the FAA, which he feels has been slow to improve launches for SpaceX, and also with NHTSA, which enforces safety standards affecting Tesla. Now, while a lot of people trust Musk's intentions, putting him in a position to alter regulations that impact industries where he has significant investment naturally raises concerns. This isn't necessarily a question of Musk's character, it's more about the risks inherent in allowing someone with a vested interest to influence government policy in these areas. On the one hand, there is certainly massive scope for cost reduction in the US government that would definitely benefit America's financial position. But at the same time, there are concerns on the other side of the equation too. So hopefully this video gives you a reasonably balanced look at both the pros and the cons of Elon Musk's potential new role in the US government. Definitely let me know your thoughts as well down in the comment section below. Let's keep the discussion going down there, because I think this is a really interesting one. I will see you in the next video, guys. Don't forget to subscribe to this channel, like this video, share it with your friends or relatives, whoever is interested in that topic. And yeah, don't forget, I love you guys, and bye.